Yes, sir. My name is Matt Castor. I'm the Vice President of Government and Corporate Relations for USA Cares.
Bill Dieruf, former mayor of the city of Jeffersontown, former president of KLC, but today I am a board member of USA Cares representing them.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, it's really an honor to be here on behalf of USA Cares. I appreciate everyone who's here today, who's concerned with this issue. It's something that's not a military issue. It's not a veteran issue. It's an American issue, and something that everybody in this room can appreciate. I'd like to tell you a little bit about USA Cares and the work that we're doing. We are a national 501c3 that is headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky. We work in all 50 states and have so for the past 20 years. So starting in Radcliffe, our organization started as a service for veterans coming back from the war in Iraq in 2003. And in many cases, we were assisting veterans who were coming back with physical injuries, coming back missing limbs, coming back with traumatic injuries that were going to make the rest of their life a challenge. And we wanted to step in and financially support those families and help in any way we can. As you know, as we progress through the years, over the last 20 years, those needs have transitioned, and we deal now with more of the invisible injuries of post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury. And as we do that, we've realized a few things. We've realized that we can step in with some of these families who are coming to us, and we may not be able to stop a suicide directly, but we may be able to eliminate the factors that push somebody to make that type of terrible decision. We are going to hear a lot today in our discussion about this number of 22 veterans a day, and we can debate the number and the validity of that number. Some say it's much higher, some say it's much lower. I think we can all agree, though, it's too many, regardless of what the number is. At USA Cares, we are receiving right now more than 100 calls each week from veteran families who are at rock bottom. These are men and women who served our country, who feel as though they don't have anywhere else to turn. They don't know what to do. And in many cases, by the time they come to USA Cares, they have been referred to us by 2, 3, sometimes 4 other organizations or services who have not been able to provide help. Our main mission is dealing with this idea of transition and dealing with this idea of somebody losing their sense of purpose or feeling like their life is out of control. I appreciated the example given earlier by Mr. Bullard about coming back from a combat situation and being in Disney World 48 hours later. That is a story, a common theme that we hear through many people, and one that we try to address and try to help them transition. And that transition isn't just preparation for the veteran themselves. In many cases, that is where we as an organization need to work with employers as well and help employers understand when everybody wants to hire veterans, but when they go to hire a veteran, do they understand what that means? Do they understand building a community, building camaraderie within their workplace to support that veteran? And so we try to hit it from both sides. A statistic that struck me, and I think you all will appreciate, in the 20 years of combat since September 11th, we've lost more than 7,000 men and women to service-connected casualties. And we've lost more than 30,000 to suicide. Now, again, that number can be debated, but roughly 4 times the number of people have committed suicide than have been lost in combat. And that is something that keeps me up at night, and I'm sure it does you as well. It's something that we can do something about collectively, and we hope to do so. In the last 10 years, the biggest area that we've been able to step in and help pull people back from the brink is housing. We have stopped more than 4,500 veteran families from being evicted from their homes or being removed from their rental property. because we recognize the fact that when somebody loses their home and they lose that place of stability, the likelihood of suicide increases dramatically. Add into that something like having their car repossessed. Now all of a sudden they're unable to get their kids to school. They're unable to get to work. Their job is in jeopardy, and that downward spiral begins. These are all triggers. These are all have a direct and profound impact on these families that if we don't address those particular issues, then this rate will continue. So we are going to continue to take on the issue of housing. We're going to continue to take on the job placement program. We have a wonderful partnership with Fort Knox and a senior leader career transition program where we have an 8-week program where we can place senior leaders with companies. They are still paid by the Department of Defense during that 8-week period. They're being evaluated by the company. The company is evaluating them. And it's a way to more slowly transition into a career to find out if it is a good fit or if it is not. But it's what we're finding is it's allowing the employers to be trained as well as the veteran to more slowly ease into a permanent position that's going to give them that sense of fulfillment. The other side of this, let me mention one other thing on this slide. I am someone who largely has not been in nonprofit. Nonprofit for me is in the last 4 years. And one of my biggest frustrations with nonprofit is the fact that everybody is so focused, hyper-focused on a functional allocation. That is to say, how much of the money goes towards the mission. It is important. It is important for credibility purposes. And USA Cares is at 87% of our money goes directly towards the mission, and that's wonderful. But it does hinder our ability to promote our services. And it does hinder our ability to conduct everything we need to. So that's difficult, and it causes us to need to come and ask for assistance from the state of Kentucky to get some additional resources in order for us to continue this mission completely. USA Cares, as I mentioned, is working in all 50 states. We have started the process in the last few years of opening chapters. We have 38 chapters active across the country, and this model is proving effective in a couple different ways. One, it is raising support. It's raising financial support for USA Cares to be able to assist more veteran families. But it's also creating those community groups. It's creating ways for veterans to get together. I'm sure anybody in any of the groups that are here today present would tell you if you can get veterans together and getting them talking, there's healing that takes place there. And we want that to be the case with each one of these chapters around the country. So we'll continue to open up more and to hold events, to get people together, to get people talking, and to bring more and more awareness to the issue of veteran suicide. This is a question I get quite often from just about anyone I speak to. They'll tell me, hey, I've never heard of USA Cares. Well, there's a reason, because we don't advertise. We spend no money on advertising. We spend no money on promotion. And the people who do hear from us are referred to us by other services. These numbers you see on the screen were last year alone, and the numbers of veteran families referred to us by these services, in many cases with no funding to follow. On average, it costs us about $4,000 per family to fully assist them, to fully keep them in their home. Anybody in this room who's good at math can go through these numbers and realize there's no way I can financially cover the need of all these people. These represent men and women. These represent children. These are families, and we're going to do everything we can to protect them. But we also need to reach out to every one of these organizations and say, we are honored that you believe in us enough to send us veterans to assist, but we also need you to come alongside us and help us fund these. So what we're seeing in Kentucky alone, last year we had 224 immediate needs for assistance here, which reflects about $896,000 at that average of $4,000 per family. The resources simply aren't there. unless we can promote, unless we can somehow reach out and do more, there's just not enough resources to help everybody. At least help everyone completely. We may be able to make sure they've got food. We may be able to do partial relief, but not the complete relief that we are looking for. And that is our ask of all of you, is to consider not only USA Cares, but these other great organizations you're going to hear from as well. Help fund these organizations. Let's put some money into these. The work that we're doing, not to disparage anything that the government does, but the work we are doing can often be done much faster and at a much lower amount of money than any government entity can do it. And I'm proud of the work that we're doing. I'm proud of the work that the men and women who are behind me are doing. And I encourage you strongly to give them support as well as USA Cares. We have been recognized over the last several years between Newsweek listing us as one of 8 veteran service nonprofits that arose out of the tragedy of September 11th. That is still worthy of your donations today. We've been named Nonprofit of the Year in Louisville. Charity Navigator has given us their highest rating, and we've been recognized for programs we have with Hardee's and Carl's Jr. nationally on Fox News on multiple occasions. Simply put, we need your help. We are looking at the highest number of veterans coming to us this year than we've ever had in 20 years. And we're looking at, with the economic situation, it costing us more and more for every one of these families that we assist. So I appreciate your time today. I appreciate you listening, and be happy to answer any questions. Or Bill, if you have anything you'd like to add.
Yeah. The across the state, USA Cares their corporate headquarters is in Jeffersontown or Metro Louisville. They stayed here because this is their state and this is where they began, and Knox is where they started. We moved them to Jeffersontown in order to get a wider girth. Suicide amongst everybody right now is growing tremendously. I don't have to tell you all that. We're coming out of COVID. We're coming out of being in the basement, not knowing what to do. And our vets are ones that are absolutely need our help. They fought for our freedom. They put their lives on the line. It's time we put the money to help them to make sure they come back. How many times do we have the honor when a person, a man or woman dies overseas, protecting our freedom? But what about those who have passed away for suicide, for protecting our freedom? It's time that we put the money up to let somebody like USA Cares or one of these organizations, I can contest to them because I'm the one that got them to come to Jeffersontown because I firmly believe in them, and I've seen them grow as a national organization. And the biggest thing I can say is they are there to help everybody they can. They don't have an app. They have a person that answers the phone that says, we are here to help. They want to help every single person, and they will take the money you're going to give them and make sure it's put to good use. We do not know the number that we saved that do not commit suicide. We only know the number that we did not reach in time because of suicide. So by having a live person answer the phone and have the resources, whether it's rent, whether it's a ability to help them from becoming suicidal, or whether it's an education to get a job, or whether it's simply to help them make a car payment, or simply to have somebody to talk to. If anybody's been through a suicide attempt or a person talking to them, they realize many times that person needs a person on the other end of the phone to talk to, a connectivity, somebody that cares. I can tell you with the years I've worked with USA Cares for the last 11 years, they care. And we ask for your help in order to make this state the example of what we believe in our veterans. Thank you all for hearing us today.
Thank you, gentlemen. We do have a few questions, and
Sure.
Y'all have already, we met with Chairman Petrie. He is aware of the need and everything.
Thank you.
But where the committee can help as the budget process takes place over the next, session for the biennial budget, it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt to have a casual mention of it or anything that's important to us as the budget is taking place. So we, unfortunately, at this committee, we don't have that ability to do that, but we we know you've been speaking with the right people too. So
Thank you.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes, thank you. What an honor to have such an impactful organization in my city of Louisville, and in J-Town, where I grew up. So my question is about families and helping families to know what to do to support their family members. I'm a teacher, and I did a full day suicide prevention training, and I learned, you ask the questions. Are you suicidal? You look for the red flags, like, are you giving away things? Do you have any sort of programming to help families understand what they can do, what they can ask? There are some pretty set good programs available. Maybe if not, that would be a great thing to do for your families. Just play.
Sure. Well, I appreciate your question. We have a team of case managers who are well trained and have done this for many years to address a multitude of issues. What I'm most proud about them is probably their humility to be able to say sometimes we're the right organization to help you, and sometimes there are others who are better at it. And so in the case of, they can assess the situation very quickly and determine, okay, is this something that we can address right now? Or is this something maybe that a professional at the VA is going to be a little better for? So I like to think of them as that first line of contact to kind of triage the situation and then move them through. So they ask the questions that you mentioned. They go through and assess that and try to determine the immediate need. I hope that answers your question.
All righty, Representative Raymer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And really, I have more of a comment than a question, but I recently got to visit their headquarters at USA Cares, spend some time with them, and I was very impressed with the facility. I got to hear some audio recordings of individuals that they had helped, and the impact that they're having on these families in Kentucky is huge. And, like he said, these are circumstances that are triggers for these families. So they might not be involved in the actual mental health portion, but intervening and stopping those triggers that put somebody at risk is a great way that we can affect change in this population in Kentucky. And I would just encourage the committee members to support this organization. And if you have time, I'm sure they would love for you to pay them a visit.
I'd have to say also that USA Cares is located in J-Town and Metro Louisville, but we represent all those in need across the whole state. Every county, every city has a veteran that is in this need, and USA Cares will help them.
All right, thank you. Senator Harper Angel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You touched on my question a little bit, but I'd like to elaborate. The budget subcommittees, the review budget subcommittees are meeting now, and it would really be helpful if we knew your ask.
Yes.
I'm appreciative of the fact that you're meeting with Representative Petrie and you're on the job, but it would be helpful to know what you need in terms of budget request.
And I'm happy to send that to everyone on this committee today.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is not a question either. It's just a little bit of an echo. I stumbled across your guys like 7 years ago, went to one of your events, totally impressed. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. And I would just echo that I will be speaking with the A&R chairman as well, seeing what we can do to get you guys some help. And I would also say that I'd like to get some contact information from you after we finish this meeting so that I can introduce you, connect you with some people in the Davis County area where I'm from, and have you talk with them one-on-one.
I would appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your work.
All right, and Representative Tackett Lafferty.
I want to begin by saying thank you for all the help that you provide to our veterans. I think that we all see the trouble that our veterans face in our community. Recently in Eastern Kentucky, many of our homes were flooded. I heard from some folks who are capable of reaching out to veteran services organizations, such as your own as well, for help in situations where they didn't have enough money to repair the flood damage, but then something else happened, and they were going to be out expenses, and your organizations were able to help to keep those folks in their homes. I do have a question, though. Is there some sort of avenue in Kentucky? I'm not sure if you point veterans in that direction, but is there some sort of maybe tax exemption that we give to veterans on their primary residences to try to protect against homelessness?
Bill, do you know that one?
Not at this time that I am aware of.
Okay.
We have if you become a certain age, we have but at one time there was a push to try to get that through the legislation. And if I'm not mistaken, you all are here more than I am. I don't think we've got it through.
Right. Well, I just wanted to make a point that's a great idea. I'm not sure who filed that bill here, but I'm pretty sure I've co-sponsored that bill before. But also, I just want to say that, for instance, those property taxes or other things that impede these veterans from being able to make repairs to their homes. A specific situation in our group, I had a veteran, his basement was flooded, which took out his entire heating and cooling system. So he has to use the money that he saved to repair his roof on repairing the flood, and of course you have to pay the taxes because you don't want the home to go into default. So I just wanted to make that point, and thank you very much for all the help that you offer.
Thank you.
All right, Representative Stalker.
Couple questions around the statistics that you shared regarding the amount of applications that you get, as well as the kind of average of $4,000 per family that's needed. Do you all have any data that you're able to collect on the families or individuals that you have to turn away due to lack of funding?
We do. I think we can look at it from a couple different standpoints. It's not quite as black and white because they will receive assistance in some capacity. So there are very few all-out rejections. In many cases, unfortunately, there's some fraudulent applications of people who aren't even veterans who try to receive funding. We have to sift through a lot of other issues of people trying to get money. So those are all considered in those rejections. But I can get you the data, Representative Stalker, as far as the number that are coming in versus what we can afford. I can tell you to fully assist that $4,000 number to be able to help everybody that would be coming to me, I would be rejecting over 80% of them because we would need to be a $20 million organization in order to meet the current need nationally.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you for that. That's incredibly helpful. And then do you have any limitations as far as the assistance that you can give, times that you can provide that assistance? I know frequently with food banks, for example, once a month or, there's limitations. Do you guys have any restrictions like that?
So initially we offer them what we call a one-time assistance, but we will allow them to reapply. And we don't want it to be so cold and black and white that say, we're only going to help you once and then you're out. But in many cases, we also don't want to be an organization that allows somebody to not get back on their own feet. So we want to assist once and get them going. There are special circumstances where people do need further assistance, and we will come back and help them again. But it's all on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, and then I just would like to close with a comment. So my background's in the nonprofit sector, and I really appreciated the fact that you started your comments off with the amount of money that goes to actually serving, right, the individuals in the mission. And I think it's important for individuals to understand that it costs money to employ highly compassionate, skilled, intelligent people to do this work, because as somebody who's worked in the nonprofit sector for years, you're competing with the for-profit sector for talent. And that's just a game you're always going to lose. So I just appreciate that fact and would encourage folks in this room and on this committee in mind.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your testimony and letting us know about the program, and hopefully you'll have a lot of advocates for it as budgets rise there.
Wonderful.
So
Thank
we
you
appreciate
very
you being
much.
here.